The Army has sent 17 teams of medical professionals across the country to places like New York City, Washington State, and Texas to assist local communities in caring for COVID-19 patients. Recognizing burnout is a significant problem with the high number of patients during the pandemic, the Army has sent behavioral health professionals to civilian hospitals to help care for their staff. The Army has also activated more than 3,000 National Guard members to help out with vaccinations. Henry Beeman is with the U.S. Army, and he is the healthcare recruiting officer for the state. Henry, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, tell us, what is it like being a nurse in the U.S. Army?
So my experience being a nurse in the Army has been filled with different types of patient care, from my start in the clinical realm at Walter Reed, where I was the charge nurse of the Wounded Warrior Ortho Trauma Ward up in DC. And I've had experience working in an operating room and as well as in the clinic setting. So I've had kind of the broad experience of nursing care across the spectrum of healthcare, with a really big emphasis on leadership. That's one of the great things about being an Army nurse, is not only do you get the clinical side of care, but you also get a leadership experience.
What are the openings like here in Mississippi?
So currently in Mississippi, we have several positions open for nurses in the U.S. Army Reserves, and we also have positions available full-time active duty in the Army. And with those full-time positions, one of the key positions that we're looking for right now are nurse anesthetists, so our CRNAs, and I'm trying to hire 20 CRNAs this year.
In the central Mississippi area?
So throughout Mississippi, we're trying to hire as many as we can, with duty stations all over the world, as well as we do have some positions available here in Mississippi.
And what benefits do you offer?
So there's a slew of benefits for folks, everything from retirement to free health care for them and their families while they're serving on the active duty side, and very low cost health care on the reserve side. And then we also offer the Health Professions Scholarship Program to help folks go to school to get that health professions degree, whether they want to go to medical school, dental school, or to be a nurse practitioner or a CRNA. We can help folks pay for that with the Health Professions Scholarship Program.
And what is it like in the U.S. Army treating patients with COVID?
So I have been in leadership positions since the start of the COVID pandemic, so I haven't directly cared for patients, but some of the nursing staff that worked under me were taking care of COVID patients at my previous duty station at Fort Benning, Georgia, where we had patients within the facility. And I even went and, because I am a nurse, went and got trained up to run the ventilators and those sorts of things to get reintegrated back into that system in case it came to that point where I had to be pulled out of my leadership position back into a clinical role. So what I have seen is that our nurses are very resilient and have adapted to this change, but some increased workload for sure, but the Army is very strong right now.
Do you all have any trouble attracting nurses to the field with the pandemic?
So from my experience here in Mississippi, we have not had trouble recruiting folks into the field. Our purpose of serving something greater than ourselves speaks really strongly, and there's no greater patient population to take care of. My experience on the Wounded Warrior floor up at Walter Reed, when you're taking care of men and women who have given so much of themselves for us and for our freedoms, to be able to give back a little bit speaks volumes.
And you can get more information on the healthcare positions in the Army by contacting the U.S. Army by the information on your screen here. I'll have more on the nursing shortage at 6 and 10. And your time right now is 6:09.
Send it over to Jacob.